Yeah. Hey, Courtney, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, Heading into this SEC tournament, I mean, you just look at the teams and basically if all the projections are right, you're facing a field of all NCAA tournament teams this year. The conference is just that strong. What's it like heading into right before you get to the NCAAs into a tournament where you're getting to face competition that is what you're going to be seeing from here on out?
Well, it's what we expect by playing in this conference. I think it's what this conference does is prepares you. It grows you. It does all those things, and so this tournament is a small version of that to prepare us and grow us and get us ready for the NCAAs. So it's also a reminder that nothing you do prior to this matters. And you just show up and try to win each game that you're in. And so it's a good start, a good transition into the NCAA.
With the team on that point about, y'all have accomplished so much this year. No, it didn't end how you wanted the regular season. How good is it to enter into a new phase that, you can kind of flush maybe what you didn't like, yet take those things that you did like and try and carry them, from here on out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the crazy thing about sports in general is that you just have like a recency bias, like you look back and you're like, look at the last game and no, we didn't play all that well. And sometimes it changes your perspective of what your body of work is. And so the nice thing is going from Saturday to even today on Tuesday when we're getting back together, you just gain a lot of perspective and you have a chance to reflect on the entire body of work and and more than anything, I'm just really proud of this group. I'm proud of this group. It's been constant growth. It hasn't been like this straight line, everything, firing and falling into place. We've played games where we haven't got the breaks. We've played games where we have. We played games where we weren't firing and found ways to win. We played games where we were firing and found ways to win. We played games that we were firing and didn't win. You have all of the experiences, and so you reflect on it, and then you look and say, if you would have told me at the start of the year that this team was going to be a top 4 seed and earn a national seed, I would have just said, sign me up. Absolutely. I'll take the good and the bad as we grow to earning those things. And so I, just reflected, have good perspective, and so you earn those things, and then you kind of wash it and say, all of those things have prepared us and we're ready, and all of it doesn't matter. And we just have to show up and figure out how to be +1 at the end of the day. I
And
don't even know if that answered your question. I went off on like 3 tangents, but hopefully
that
it
was
did.
great.
Great. Good.
So
There you go, Ethan.
of course, this week does mean something. I mean, I think literally the conference's slogan that it just means more. But I mean, of course, it is building up to that preparation to the NCAA tournament where it's really do or die. Just this week, what are you really wanting to see before y'all enter into that into the big dance?
Yeah, it's an interesting week because you don't ever go into a game saying it doesn't mean anything. Um, but but it's not what you work towards. It's you work towards the NCAA. And so what we want to see this weekend is us transition to playing a lot more free and just playing to compete and win the moment. Of taking all the growth and all the lessons, good and bad, that we've gotten from the last 51 games, and say, okay, here we go. Let's just fight and claw and scrape and do whatever we need to do. And maybe that equates in a win or 2 or 3, or maybe that just equates in a big fight that maybe doesn't go our way, and then we get to learn from that and move on to the NCAAs. But it's a good, like I said, it's a good transition to get us ready for NCAAs next week.
Thank you.
Dudley?
Three possible first opponents there. Talk a little bit about each of them. Missouri first.
Well, I think that Missouri's playing really well right now. I think they have 3, 4, 5 pitchers that they count on to throw a good chunk of innings. I think they're really settled into their roles and throwing really effective innings for them. And then I think they're an offense that just keeps finding ways to win. And you see that in their last series against South Carolina, who has a really strong pitching staff. And they just kind of stayed the course and let their offense find a way to win, kept their pitchers and their defense kept them in it, which that's always what Missouri does. They don't give up much on defense. And so I think they're playing really well right now. Obviously, we know and have seen Ole Miss really recently. I think they're playing their best of the year. I think there's a lot to be said about a team that's fighting for their life and then play their best and elevate their game. And I think that's what they did this past weekend. The team I watched in video was not the team that we faced. And so there's a lot to be said for that. And then Kentucky, I just never count out Rachel Lawson and the Kentucky Wildcats. I think Schoonover can beat anyone. I think they're an offense like we saw in Tennessee. They're an offense that they can put up runs. And they make quick adjustments, and they always show up and fight. And so just like any team, any team in this conference, no matter who we line up with, they're going to be tough. They're going to demand our best. And so those three will definitely do that.
Thank you.
Justin?
Yeah, similar to something you were talking about earlier, with this week, you said you don't go into any games not wanting to win. But I am curious, how do you quantify this week with kind of that different goal? Like you say, the NCAA tournaments, to use my words, kind of the promised land. The SEC tournaments, a route to get there. But the games that really matter have already been played. So how do you quantify this week, especially as you're preparing, whether that's practice, whether that's film, whether that's just your game prep? How do you quantify this week kind of as that bridge between the regular season and NCAA tournament?
Well, I think this week is the week that gets you prepared for the next week. It's the week where you're not really sure, who your opponent's going to be. You will in the NCAA tournament, you'll know your first opponent, but beyond that, you don't know what you're going to get. And you just have to bring your best game. You prepare for everyone, you prepare for the team in front of you, and then you fight your butt off to win that game. And that's your only focus. So how do I quantify it? I quantify it as, I think it prepares you for the postseason because it's the biggest stage other than the World Series. So you get the hoopla of this big softball event, which is a precursor to what the NCAA is going to be. And it kind of gets you back in that mode of playing multiple teams. It's not necessarily, it's like the transition to getting hopefully to a best 2 out of 3, and so I think it's just that step that gets you back in the postseason mode, fighting for your life, finding a way to win, being +1. And that's it. I'm not going to say it's not important. It's really important. But you're right. Everything we play for is for the NCAA postseason. And so it's just that transition back to like, let's figure out how to fight and win the game we're in, and then try to move to the next one.
As you are trying to win games here in Auburn this weekend, how valuable is it that you played here already? So the fans, the stadium, those little intricacies that you don't always know, but you've been here just a few weeks ago. How valuable is that?
I hope it's valuable. I don't know. I hope it's valuable. It's where we started SEC. So it feels like a couple weeks ago and a lifetime ago. When you get on the backside of the SEC part of your schedule, you've gone through it. You've gone through the ringer. And so that was our first series. We played well there. And so, you hope that all that familiarity makes your team a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident. You hope, I hope it does. We like being on the road. So I don't know, fingers crossed, Justin. I hope it makes us more confident, more familiar, helps us play our best.
Do you have any other questions for Coach D?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.